Thank you to the trustees, President Kerwin, Provost Bass, Dean Starr. Before I begin my remarks, I just wanted to acknowledge all the mothers in this room and all who have helped guide us to this point in celebration of Mother's Day tomorrow, so please help me in giving them a round of applause. Good afternoon to the most diverse group of students an arena can possibly hold. If we were asked individually how we would change the world, I bet our answers would be so different that an outsider would think we lived on different planets. But that is the beauty of the College of Arts and Sciences. Though our differences may seem almost irreconcilable, the computer scientist and psychologist, the philosopher and chemist have more in common than meets the eye. So as we get ready to say goodbye to this home and rush into whatever awaits us next, please allow me to share some remarks on what I think we do or should have in common. Whatever our dreams, whatever your prospective job, hopes, or path, there is this idea that in our struggles to, in our own ways, create a better world, we are giving a voice to the voiceless. But as pretty and heroic as that sounds, might it be an incredibly false statement to think that? What the psychologist and computer scientist have in common is their ability to create channels, is their ability to bridge the gap between the wavelength of her voice and the drum in my ear. Their ability to create spaces for people to listen by lending with their own ears or asking the tough questions. Why have we not heard? And when we have heard, why have we not listened? Muhammad is 19 years old. When he was 8, he was brought from a small town near Cairo to work in a brick factory in Cairo. Since then, he's been working at the oven station. With his bare hands, he removes the bricks out of the blazing hot oven. Muhammad went to get his background check documents done. They asked for his fingerprints. They found none. Muhammad does not have fingerprints because his hands are melted. To the government and to society, he does not exist, has no value or worth. But just because he doesn't have fingerprints doesn't mean he does not exist, is not precious. Just because we have not been hearing their voices does not mean they're voiceless. Indian author and activist Arundhati Roy put it well. There's really no such thing as the voiceless. There's only the deliberately silenced or the preferably unheard. So you see, reality is much more complicated than what we choose to hear. So don't just make the medicine biologists, and health promoters don't just find the donors and send those meds off to some West African village. Learn to ask the tough questions. Ask why HIV/AIDS is being financed over 100 more deadly diseases. Look for the music iTunes isn't selling. It often tells the real story. The songs played through the brutal nights in Tahrir Square in Cairo, well, their authors never made it out alive to get to a recording studio. Work together, historians and gender activists, and ask who wrote the books you read. Find the histories and stories of women's struggles and triumphs that our textbooks never told. Anthropologists and sociologists bring life to the numbers that the economists produce, and tell the stories lost in translation. I promise the language studies folks will help you. And while the educators kindle fires and share the knowledge that the environmentalists have known for too long for us to sit back and ignore, destroying the world around us, the performers will emerge with messages that no language has ever spoken, messages that only the body's movements and the stroke of a brush can relay. Speak the language of humanity, of holding the hand of a stranger in distress and letting them know you hear their voice, even when no words are uttered. But while we echo others, let us not forget our own voices and that they matter. In this age of globalization, do not get lost in the sea of people. In the aftermath of the Arab Spring, if I've learned one thing, it's that a revolution is only as good as far as its momentum is personal. But the hard truth is we can't sit around and wait for a revolution to be activists in whatever our fields. The problems are not just in the far-off Middle East. You need not go to Central Africa or Asia to find them. It all begins with opening our eyes to our own backyards. Cross-cultural communications is not only for the School of International Studies. Cultures aren't just across national borders. Conflicts of cultures are right around the corner. The 68 square miles that is the District of Columbia is crumbling with conflicts of silences and of loud noises, but we turn the radios on too high and put nature's alarms on snooze. But here's the thing. I believe that in this room is where there is hope. The older we get, no offense to our parents, but the more we will think we got it all figured out. But while we're still raw and have a passion to impact the world, will we please shut up every once in a while and listen to the aching voices? Listen to the shouts of victory, no matter how small these victories may be, and bridge the gaps. Ideas into action, action into service. It wasn't just your admissions Common App essay to American University. Live the legacy, echo the voices. Thank you.